Hi everyone, it's Corey Jones with Remax Sarnia Realty, Home Team Advantage, and proud sponsor of LoveSarniaLambton.ca. I'm here with Dennis Wheeler, owner of Djay's Inferno Sauce. Dennis, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
We just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to get to know a little bit about Dennis and his company and about some of his products. And so we thought we'd bring him along. So first of all, obviously, I'm assuming Djay's has something to do with Dennis, but where'd you get the name Djay's?
It's actually my initials. It starts my name. My initials are my name is Dennis James. So
Dennis James. Okay.
Many years ago, I used to do a lot of broadcasting online, and my nickname then was DJW as for my initials, but it was all spelled out. So it was kind of something that kind of stuck with me, and I've always really liked being called DJ.
Yep.
Online. So that's basically it. Just kind of stuck, and that's where we went with it. It's just basically my first two initials in a different format.
Awesome. And for those who don't know, Djay's Inferno Sauce, Dennis makes multiple types of hot sauces. And
yes,
things like that.
I've got right now. I've got 4 that I'm currently producing on a regular basis out of a health inspected kitchen. So I'm able to sell those ones in stores and other retailers.
Okay.
I still do some experimentation at home.
Okay.
So that's where the recipes come from for the most part, and it's something I really enjoy doing. I enjoy being in the kitchen. So
that's awesome. And what made you decide hot sauce? Like, is it just something you really love yourself, or like what made you think of?
I love hot sauce.
Okay.
First of all, first and foremost, there's hot sauces out there that I'm not sure what's in them.
Right.
So it's like, okay, you've got this powder, that powder, this powder, that powder, and then all these things I can't pronounce.
Gotcha.
So my biggest thing when I was making hot sauce is I had an overabundance of cayenne peppers in my garden.
Okay.
We had a really good growing year for cayenne peppers this year, and I had some ghost peppers and some cayenne pepper or some Carolina Reaper peppers.
Okay.
So I just kind of threw together a little recipe, and, threw some tomatoes and some green peppers, some red peppers, and some other little odds and ends in there, and cooked it all up, and blended it all together, and that's how Djay's Original was formed.
Really?
And it's just like I just happened to be lucky for that one, that I was actually writing everything down as I was putting it together.
That's awesome.
Mind you, it has been tweaked and modified
Sure.
a little bit here and there since the original inception, but I made it. I gave it to some friends. My neighbor, I gave him some, and he eats it on everything.
Is that right?
Literally, his breakfast consisted of boiled eggs and Djay's Original sauce.
That's awesome.
So it was, awesome. And I passed it out to a few other friends, and they really enjoyed it. So I made a couple more batches, and people were buying it up, and then they were saying, well, what about this, and what about this, and that's how the rest of them came to fruition. So
that's amazing. So you started. So did you just start making it then this year?
Yeah, actually, I started making it. I started making the actual hot sauce probably August.
Okay.
I've made hot sauce in the past. I've made some futile attempts at making stuff.
Yep.
And, it was good enough to eat for a little bit, but then it kind of lost its flair.
Okay.
So this year I figured, what, I've got all this, I might as well make it, and it took off like wildfire.
That's awesome.
And it was like, okay, so we'll go with this. And then people were saying, okay, can you get me this? And then that was selling, and get me this, and then that was selling. It's like, okay, well, I think I might need to register this as a business.
Amazing. So you were getting that popular even before registering, just by passing it along to people you know, and sell it to people you know. Yeah. Really, that's awesome.
Just on Facebook and Instagram, just through word of mouth on Facebook and Instagram.
Really,
so.
Yeah, I love actually how you post when you're figuring out your recipes and you're doing things, you're trying out new things. That's awesome. So how long after you started selling or making the original did you actually register the business and become teachers? Was it?
I registered the business. I think it was on September 27th. Is when I actually
brand
registered.
spanking
so
new.
I am brand spanking new.
That's awesome.
I've only been in business now for about 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
So it's learning accounting has been interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, and what's cool is that people are starting to talk about you, right? So we're seeing other companies posting you on their Facebook pages and things like that too, and I know that our mutual friend Blake actually uses it on some of his things in the truck, right?
Yep,
for yogis,
yeah. He keeps the pineapple outside on the truck for people to use. He's a little scared to have the original out there because he's afraid somebody will mistake it for ketchup.
Oh, that could be a problem. Yeah.
That would be a very quick lesson for somebody to realize that that's not ketchup.
Right, exactly, exactly. That's funny. So you said that you had a really good crop of the peppers this year. Was that because of all the rain, or was it the heat, or was it a combination of both?
I think it was a good combination of the both. The last time I watered my garden before freeze up was about the end of June. So it just, with the rain that we had, it would get nice and wet, and then it helped that these were all brand new garden beds this year too. So all the soil was nice and fresh. It was all compost from the city of Sarnia, of all places. I love that stuff.
Yeah,
it's the best compost you can get out there, as far as I'm concerned.
For sure.
So yeah, it's just I put the stuff in the ground, and I'd go out and I'd look at it, and I pick some stuff off and eat it. And
there you go. And had you been growing peppers for a long time?
I've had a garden every year probably now for about the last 10 years.
Awesome.
Between my old house where I am, or where I was, and then this house, this is the third iteration of the gardens at this house.
Okay.
It's going to get exponentially larger next year.
Sure. It probably has to. So do you source most of your products from your own garden?
I try and source as much out of my own garden, and whatever I can't use right away, I actually process and vacuum seal and freeze.
Okay.
Fresh out of my garden. If I can't get something, like I didn't grow any habaneros this year.
Okay.
So if I can't get the habaneros, so what I did with the habaneros is I got them from 2 local Ontario farms.
Okay.
One up just south of Aylmer, and the other one is actually just down near Rodney.
Okay.
So I sourced out a lot of peppers from them.
Okay.
My other peppers and other vegetables would either come from the farmer's market, or other local farms, or my garden, or other people that I know that are just saying, I've got too much, and it's just like, so
awesome.
And again, I took whatever I could, and I've got an entire upright freezer in my basement that is completely stuffed to the gills with peppers that were fresh.
That's right.
And then I processed and froze them. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So you say you got 4 products that you're selling now, and what are those? What are those 4 products?
Right now, I have the original, which is the tomato-based. I believe that's this one here. Yep. That's the original sauce. It's got the tomatoes and red peppers and onions.
Okay.
Excuse me, in it, along with the cayenne peppers, Carolina Reapers, and ghost peppers.
Awesome.
That one will give you a pretty good kick.
Yep.
A lot of people, I say, I don't recommend they eat it on their own.
Okay.
It's unless you're a real chili head like Blake.
Yeah.
This is one that you would mix into pasta, or I really enjoy putting it on scrambled eggs.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually had some before I came here.
There you go. That's awesome.
So, but yeah, that's that one.
Okay.
The next one I came up with was actually the pineapple lime. Somebody asked me for something fruity, and I found through my research that mango habanero is just inundated on the market.
Sure.
So I found a recipe for this one. Actually, it was inspired by a YouTube video.
Oh, is that right?
So I took that recipe and I tweaked it, and I made it so that now we have this pineapple lime. It goes on pretty much anything. Pulled pork, people love it on pulled pork, tacos. Again, I've got another guy down in Wallaceburg that's bought 2 bottles of this and killed them almost in a month.
Really?
Putting it on everything. Like literally, if you want a little bit of a citrus tang and that sweetness from a pineapple, but a little blast of heat,
that's the one.
That one would get you going.
Okay.
Next was the dill pickle.
All right.
Of all things, I never thought anybody would want a dill pickle hot sauce.
Okay.
So again, this one I scoured YouTube for ever trying to find a recipe, and you see recipes of people taking a jar of pickles and blending it up and throwing some peppers in it.
Right.
What's the point?
Right.
Anybody can do that.
Sure.
So this one's got cucumbers and the vinegar, and I put it all together and boil it all together and add the habaneros to it and blend it all up and bottle it all up. And this one goes again. I actually had somebody tell me they mixed it with butter and put it on their popcorn.
Oh wow, I can see that actually. Yeah.
So I thought that would be really good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So yeah, that's a lot of people buy that one. I've sold quite a bit of that one.
Okay.
And this one here, this is an infused honey. This is actually a hot honey.
Right.
It's been infused with ghost peppers and chili flake.
Okay.
I also have garlic and some ginger in there, so it's quite got some really complex flavors to it.
Right.
It takes a long time to make because it has to steep for a while, and I use a process that it takes several hours to make.
Okay.
But it's worth it in the end.
Is that right? And what do you recommend putting that one on?
Anything you want sweet.
Anything sweet with like
people put it on pizza. People put it on pancakes, ice cream, whatever you want. You can
Wings
put
would
that
be good too.
wings. Actually, my wife, I will make her like salt and pepper wings, and she'll put that on her salt and pepper wings.
Okay. All right.
So those are the 4 that are currently
Yep.
sold.
Amazing.
And then this little bad boy
Yep.
was the one that I was posting on Facebook the other day.
Yes.
This one is for the garlic lover.
Yeah, it had a little bit of garlic. I saw the batch. It had just a
got
little bit of garlic.
more than just a little bit of garlic.
Yeah,
And that picture doesn't even do it justice because a little bit more went in after that.
Okay. That's funny. That's funny.
So no, that one is for the actual garlic lover.
Okay.
I'm getting really, really, really close to getting it nailed.
Okay.
So it will be coming on the market, probably not before Christmas,
Okay.
but shortly thereafter. It's going to be called, what did I say? Garlic Bomb.
Garlic Bomb.
I believe I'm going to name that one Garlic Bomb.
Love it.
So if there's anybody out there that's got a different suggestion for a name for something like that, it's got roasted red peppers and roasted garlic and roasted tomato, or not roasted tomatoes, roasted onions, smoked. I did it all in my smoker.
Okay.
So you get that little bit of smoky, you get that little bit of sweet from the peppers, you get a little bit of tang from the apple cider vinegar that's in there. There's a few other
Got a little bit of everything.
secret ingredients.
Yeah, I look forward to trying that one.
It's extremely tasty.
That's awesome. So out of all the sauce you make, what's your personal favorite?
The original and the garlic so far.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do like the pineapple occasionally, and the dill pickle I do like, and I'm not a big
yet?
sweet person in the first
Okay.
place. So
Okay. So the new one, the garlic, and the original are your favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And you're putting that on
everything.
everything. Everything tastes better with that.
My
That's
wife had some of the garlic on her little. I made her some little pizzas on a wrap the other night. She had some on that. So
okay.
some of this one's hot. These two are kind of like middle of the road.
Yep.
This one's got a little bit of a bite, and this one's just a little bit more than the honey. So this would probably be about a 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, somewhere in there.
Yep.
These ones, I've got them listed at 4 out of 10, but they're probably closer to a 5.
Okay.
And this one here I've got listed at a 7. So
okay, awesome. That's awesome. And the nice thing about your sauces, from what I've tried, is that they're not just hot. Like there's always hot sauces that are hot, but sometimes they just lack flavor. Like you just you taste and all you taste is heat. You don't taste anything else. Where yours, and I've only tried the 2, are awesome because there's great flavor as well as So it's just incredible.
that was the whole idea behind creating that. Is again, like you said, you've got the hot sauces out there. You put them in your mouth, and then you don't taste anything for another couple 3 hours after that.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be able to have that flavor in your mouth. That you can taste the peppers, you can taste the tomatoes, you can taste spices.
Right.
I won't give away the spices, but
No.
you can taste the spices that are in there before that heat knocks you on your butt.
Right, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So you had mentioned that you'll YouTube, you'll Google different recipes and things like that. So is that typically what you'll do? Is you get some inspiration from something else and then you just kind of tweak it and make it your own and just make it better?
Sometimes, if somebody asks me for something specific,
Yeah.
like the pineapple and the dill pickle, then that's I'll generally go find something and base my recipe loosely off of that.
Okay.
Because I make it to my taste.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So if I'm making it to my taste, then everybody's a little bit different. So I'll make a batch and I'll try it, and then I'll say, okay, here, try a couple of this, or here, I've got some bottles for sale. Give me I'll sell them to you for a couple bucks, and then you just make sure you give me some feedback so I know what I need to change. And that's one of the whole things is it's try, test, try, test, try, test, try.
Right.
It's not an easy process. I got lucky with the original one because it came together just absolutely beautifully in like 2 shots.
Wow, that's awesome.
This is version 4 of the honey.
Okay.
This is probably version 3, version 4 of each one of those.
Yeah.
And this is version 2.
Okay. And you're almost there.
And I'm almost there.
Okay.
It needs something else, and I'm just trying to figure out what it is yet.
Gotcha. So when you're looking at these other recipes and then you make it your own, do you ever try the way that they suggest it be made first and go, I can make it better? Or do you just look at the recipe and go, you know what, I can tell there's already something missing I want to add to it? Or
option 2.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, I've spent a lot of time in the kitchen. I'd absolutely love to cook.
Yep.
And people love it when I cook because A, they don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And B, I'm about flavor. I can't cook anything bland.
Right.
It's got to have garlic. It's got to have onion. It's got to have some flavor. It's got to have that spice.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at a recipe and say, okay, you know what, this is a good baseline. This is a good jumping off point. But as I'm making it, I'm going, okay, we could use a little bit more of this, or I don't really want to put that in there, so I won't put that in there.
Okay.
And that's where version 1, version 2,
Yeah,
version 3, version 16 comes up into play, because sometimes I'll just make a tiny little batch if I'm not sure if it's something that I want to play with.
Right.
I'll calculate the recipe down so that I only make 1 or 2 of these bottles.
Gotcha.
Or if I know it's going to be something that, okay, this is going to be close,
Yeah.
but I'm going to tweak this, I'll actually make a whole 12 bottle batch and
Nice.
then sell them and say, okay, give me the feedback on this stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. So one of my questions was, do you have taste testers besides yourself and your family that tries it? But typically that's how you'll do it, is you'll sell it and either just at like a reduced rate or whatever, or to your regulars and just say, hey, give us a try, let me know what you think.
Yeah, or if it's something I think that's really, really close, then I'll do like what I'm doing with the garlic, is I'll sell it.
Yeah.
But I'll sell it out of my house. I cannot sell anything I make in my house in a restaurant or in a store or anything like that.
Yeah.
Due to health inspection rules.
Yeah, exactly.
So this stuff I'll just sell it in my house for regular price and say, okay, you know what? You're getting an exclusive.
Right.
Only here. But I want some feedback.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So now, where are your sauces being sold right now?
Currently, right now, obviously on my website, which I just posted today.
Amazing. And what is your website?
Djay's Inferno Sauce.
Beautiful.
And then there's some other stuff behind it. But if you just Google Djay's Inferno Sauce, it'll come up.
Comes up. Perfect.
It'll also bring you to my Facebook, so you can message me on Facebook to get it. You
Yep.
can message me on Instagram to get it.
Awesome.
Physical locations right now in the city of Sarnia is the Nut Bar.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
On East Street.
Yep.
Trish is an absolutely wonderful human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's helped me out. She's allowing me to use her kitchen as it's health inspected kitchen, so that's where I'm producing my sauce.
Yeah.
And also Dynamic Graphics and Signs and More in Corunna has some
awesome.
stock.
Yeah.
They're the ones that have done all my labeling.
I was going to ask you that.
They did the T-shirt for me, so
cool.
it's like, they've been really, really good to me. So, and they're helping me out. And, I the support that I've gotten from local businesses, just in person and on Facebook, has just been absolutely phenomenal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, do you plan to get out and market yourself to some other retailers as well, or do you find it's kind of a challenging hill to climb, or is it?
I think after Christmas, I might try and push out. Like, I don't want to inundate certain areas. Like, Sarnia's got the Nut Bar right now.
Yep.
Corunna's got Dynamic Graphics and Signs. I actually missed one. I just picked one up out in Alvinston.
Oh, nice.
Lambton Meats out in Alvinston
cool.
is carrying some out there.
Okay.
I'm looking, if I'm going to be focusing anywhere, I want to kind of push Wyoming, Forest, Grand Bend way if I'm going to be going anywhere.
Gotcha.
I don't want to. I've only got so much time in the day as well.
Right. Yeah. You can only get so big so quick, right?
So, and maybe next year I'll be able to make larger batches, but I like to keep my stuff fresh. I don't keep any more than, 5 or 6 bottles at home if people want to buy the stuff. I don't keep any more. I think Nut Bar, I think they have 6 bottles of each.
Okay.
I think Dynamic Graphics only has 6 bottles. So I like to keep the batches small. Right. Because that guarantees freshness.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, if it sits too long, you never know, right?
If it sits too long, it'll break, and then and it's not that it goes bad when it breaks. It just looks off.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fair. And that's the thing is you're you can tell you're a perfectionist, so you want to make sure you're putting in a great product every time. So, what is a typical shelf life of your product? Like, would you say what's your recommended?
I was going to say, do you want actual or do you want Health Canada rules?
So both. So Health Canada rules. How long is it okay?
Health Canada says with proper technique, it's 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
With the proper bottling technique and the proper acidity in the sauce and hot bottling your sauce, it can last years.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So it can last years.
As long as it doesn't become the biggest downfall for hot sauces to go bad is when they get contaminated.
Okay.
So if you're sitting there and you're shaking it on your food and you end up getting food inside your hot sauce, that could lead to it going bad.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. But for ultimate for yourself, you'd like to eat it fresh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you put it on everything, so that can't possibly last you that long.
No.
Yeah.
No. And that's the thing. I have quite the collection of hot sauce bottles between the ones that I've made and the ones that I've purchased from other people. And, I'm a big supporter of. I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm the only one,
Right, of course,
because everybody's got a different taste.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So I've supported Oiltown Brewing. I've bought a bunch of his stuff.
Have you? Yeah.
Really good.
Okay.
Mine's better, of course.
Of
But,
course.
hey,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I can't say that because his is an award winner.
There you go. Yeah, that's funny. That's
No,
funny.
I spoke with Adam, and he's an absolutely fantastic dude. So
Very cool. Very cool. So just supporting each other. So are there any hot sauce companies that kind of inspired you? Like where you at one point in time went, this is really good, but I wonder if I can make it just a little bit better. Like was there?
particular sauce companies, probably not, but the industry as a whole, it's a lot bigger than what I thought it was going to be.
For sure.
When I just first started getting into it, they were talking about heating up the capital. And I'm like, what is this heating up the capital? It is a giant hot sauce festival in Ottawa.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, wish I would have known about that sooner.
Yeah.
And then you had the hot sauce festival in New York City,
right,
that Front Street Heat was sponsoring.
Right.
And then I just found out that there's another one in London in February that I'm going to.
Good. Awesome. Awesome.
So I'm hoping to be able to learn some stuff there, and maybe if I know they've got some contests, so hopefully I can get some entries into some contests and
very cool.
Maybe become an award winner.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's and I've heard that it's a super competitive industry. I mean, like you say, it's ever actually. I've never been to the one in Ottawa, but I have met some of the people. Like Heiko's is one of the sponsors, right? And he's been around a long time. So I've met him, and he told me it's insane how much it's grown and how people come from just all over the place, right? Which is crazy. So do you find, with it being such a competitive industry, are most people, other hot sauce companies, are they supportive? Do you have people like trying to figure out your recipes, or do you have anybody reaching out to you at all and saying, "Hey, great job," and keep going? Or
at this point in time, I've had nobody try and snake me by any stretch of the imagination. And everybody I've talked to, from Mike Jack Eats Heat to Pepper North Company, to all of those guys, they've all been super supportive.
Oh, really?
They've all been, nobody's trying to steal any recipes. Everybody's got their own little thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And there's the thing. I could go out there and I could buy 100 different hot sauces and have 100 different flavors. And it's such a wide open market. It's absolutely inundated with people. Like there's a ton of makers out there.
Right.
But it's an open market for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's me, like, this hot sauce might work for you, but it might not work for the next guy down the street.
Right.
But, Joe Blow, other hot sauce maker, puts a little bit of lemon in his, and like, that just makes the whole sauce.
Right.
And it's just,
so
it's awesome.
Fun. Yeah, I was gonna say, so it's fun. Like you have an opportunity to be really creative with it.
Absolutely.
And again, like you say, if you're creating it to be something you enjoy for the most part. I mean, I know you're not a sweet guy, but it sounds like it could be a really fun project, right? Like it sounds like it's a fun thing to take on, because you can do so many different things with it.
Oh, absolutely. And next year, in the coming times, I plan on expanding a little bit more. Planning on expanding into, possible different spice rubs and whatnot like that.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Next year, I'm hoping to actually have another line of fermented sauces.
Okay.
Like all of these sauces I make now are all fresh.
Okay.
They're all fresh made. Next year, I'm starting to work on some recipes right now, but because fermenting takes quite some time to make, but I'm going to be working on some of those fermented sauces for next year's release.
And for those of us who don't know, what's the difference between the fermented and the fresh? Is it the longer shelf life, or is it just...
The fermenting, you don't need to use as much vinegar. Basically, when you're fermenting vegetables in a brine, it creates an acidic environment.
Okay.
And it draws out the flavors, and it kind of gives it a special little funk.
Okay, yeah.
I have a couple at home that I made that I haven't really released out.
Okay.
Because I'm keeping them for myself.
Yeah, yeah.
But it definitely creates a different flavor and a different profile on the tongue when you eat the fermented versus eating fresh.
Okay. So you're working on that, and hopefully next year. So plans are to be to enter the contest in the competition in London.
Yeah.
in February, and hopefully you'll be keeping us posted when that is for anybody who wants to go support you. And
February 24th or 25th, something like that.
All right, we'll be watching because it's definitely get down there and check it out. I've got a buddy who's a hot sauce connoisseur who I know is excited to try your products. He's moved to Windsor, and so I don't believe he's tried them yet, but I know he's eyeing you up for sure. So he loves those competitions.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to the Trish at the Nut Bar, and a couple folks came up from Windsor.
Oh, is that right?
And purchased some of the sauce and took it back to Windsor with them. So
there you go. Well, they can mark it up and sell it to my buddy for twice as much money because he's a hot sauce fanatic. So so you already told me what your favorite is. It's the original. And besides making hot sauce, and that's obviously keeping you busy right now because I'm seeing your posts about all your things you're working on. What do you like to do?
I'm out in my garden a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I like being outdoors. I've got a nice sized lot, so I take advantage of it and spend as much time as I can outside.
Yep.
I hang out with my wife, my dogs, my kids. I've got three dogs at home, so they keep me pretty busy for the most part. And
Absolutely.
And the yard work, and I just really like being outside, going for a walk.
Right.
I'm in a nice little spot. I can come out and I can walk right down. I walk right down the river.
Nice.
I
You're
walk,
in front of me.
Yeah, I walk down past Shell, or I can walk back the other way towards Moortown.
Yeah.
It's a great little area that I'm in, and there's as much as people say, oh, there's nothing to do. There's lots to do if you put your mind to it. Like,
absolutely.
I've spent I'm probably, this is 4 years now. I've spent working on the yard. Hopefully next year I'll be done.
Okay.
We had to do some major yard rehab when we first moved into the house, so it's been slowly puttering away at that, getting it, getting the water going where it's supposed to be going, rather than basements.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And especially necessary for the garden, right? You want to make sure proper drainage there too.
So next year I'm going to be effectively doubling. I'll probably close to tripling the size of my garden.
Wow. So it keeps you busy.
It'll keep me busy next year, and then I try and grow my own stuff, and I have a couple of chickens, so that I'm looking after them, and
very cool.
A little bit of animal husbandry, and it's just I always seem to be moving.
That's awesome.
And it drives my wife crazy because she'll come home from work and she'll sit down and she'll be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'll be sitting in the chair watching TV. Next thing I'm up running to the kitchen and doing something.
Nice. I have to make the sauce. It's in my head, so
and that's it. Or I've got to write it down or something very like cool. that. And I've gotten peppers from. Actually, had a friend of mine in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in had an overabundance of ghost peppers.
Okay.
So he sent them all to me.
Nice.
So
nice.
Canada Post delivers peppers too.
Really? Eh? That's awesome. Where did he send them from? Ottawa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he lived just north of Ottawa, and he threw them into a flat rate shipping box and shipped them on down to me.
That's hilarious. That's super
obviously
cool.
I paid him for them.
But it's awesome that people are looking out for you, and you can source from so many different places. That's amazing.
I'm actually part of a hot sauce exchange right now too, so I'm going to be. There's only 2 of us from Canada in this group.
Really?
So I'll be getting some from Toronto, and I'm sending some up to Toronto.
Very cool. Very cool.
So it's a very interesting community to be part of, and it's I've never felt so included in part of a community. I'll say that much.
Is that right? That's awesome. That's awesome. Any desire to do markets or anything like that, or are you just too busy? Is that a?
I did one so far this year.
Yeah.
I did one out at the St. Joseph's Parish Hall. They asked me to come out and be a vendor there. We actually did fairly well. I was surprised. But they were just doing a little $5 luncheon for the parish.
Right.
And I took some stuff out there, and I've worked with Trish at the Nut Bar, so I brought some of her stuff out with me as well.
Cool.
So we kind of go back and forth. She'll take some of my stuff. I'll take some of her stuff.
Nice.
My next one coming up is actually First Friday.
Oh, cool.
I will be down at That's What She Grows.
Oh, awesome.
I will have a table in there. Yeah. So
very cool.
We'll be giving out some samples if people want to try it.
Very cool.
Probably put together. I'm trying to figure out what kind of snacks I can put together for people to try stuff on, rather than using those little tiny spoons all the time.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, the tiny spoons are effective, but if you put it on something that might taste cool, that's or taste good with, that's cool too. So obviously supporting local is huge. And you've mentioned Trish from the Nut Bar several times.
Yeah.
So it's awesome you've got that relationship, because, like you say, having that commercial kitchen is a huge. Yeah. That's awesome. So, what other local business do you find yourself kind of supporting on a regular basis?
I try and support as many local businesses as I can.
Okay.
Again, South 50. She creates wreaths and whatnot. She's actually just down in Dresden. I bought a wreath for my wife from there.
Nice.
She's got a shop on Etsy.
Yep.
And again, I try and shop at the farmer's market when I can for my
Yeah.
vegetables, or my local No Frills, which is owned by
Yep.
somebody who lives in Corunna, or the IGA, which I know is owned by somebody who lives right in Corunna.
Right,
So those
yeah.
are as big businesses as they are. They're still owned by local people.
For sure.
And again, like I used to go to Tim Hortons all the time, but I stopped doing that because now I work from home a lot. So
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
I'm not driving out.
That's
to
right.
get
Yeah,
coffee.
exactly. Yeah, you make your own.
Places like that. If I can find a small coffee roaster, then I'll buy a bag here. Or, like I said, I'll go down to Dresden to the meat packers, or go out to Lambton Meats, and I'll buy some meat there. And
Very
just,
cool.
I try and keep it spread out. I don't want to focus all my energies on one spot,
Yep.
because I want to make sure everybody's doing well, right?
Absolutely.
Because if it wasn't for all of those people, then I wouldn't have the support that I have now.
Exactly. No, for sure. And I mean, obviously, like you say, that's why we're doing what we're doing, right? I keep saying it. that term came up, or that saying came up so often throughout COVID. We're in this together, and we really are, right? Like,
Yep.
it's so important, and I don't care what the industry is. I think there's enough business to go around for everybody, whether it's real estate, whether it's hot sauce, whatever the case may be. Because, like you say, everybody's got their own taste.
Yep.
Everybody's got their own people, right? And so,
That's right.
but it is important to support as many as you can, and I love that. That's awesome. So I know that Blake or Yogi's. I keep saying Blake, but some people don't know who Blake is. So Blake is the handsome fellow with the Hawaiian shirt at Yogi's. So he's got your product there. Are there any other restaurants that are using your products at this point?
At this point in time, no. There
Okay.
haven't been any more restaurants. Again, after Christmas, I'm going to start trying to put the nose to the ground. I'm just trying to keep up with the demand for this stuff. So.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You don't want to be too busy.
No,
so.
I haven't had a whole lot of time to do a lot of extra marketing other than on social media.
Yeah, which you do a great job of. Yeah.
Again, like I said, I built the website, Djay's Inferno Sauce. So if you do want to go on there and buy stuff, you can go on there and purchase it. Local delivery is available in the Sarnia and Lambton area.
Okay.
You can either pick it up at my house, or we can deliver it. Or if you're outside of the area, then message me for shipping rates, because going through Canada Post or FedEx or something like that, with what they're saying it is, it's very cost prohibitive. When you're only buying 1 or 2 bottles, I can stick those in a nice little neat package and slide them right into the mail slot. It doesn't cost next to nothing for shipping, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so really just where it depends on where it's going and what your needs are, but you'll make it happen. So that's very cool. All right, so, and again, besides lovesarnialampton.ca, which you're going to be on tomorrow, they can find you on Facebook page, which is Djay's
Inferno Sauce. Instagram, which is djs.inferno.sauce.
Okay.
You can find my website at Djay's Inferno Sauce on Google.
Yep.
You can find me on many, many, many places, and a simple Google search will bring you up to wherever you can find me for the most part.
Amazing.
Born and raised in Corunna, so I'm a Corunna boy by heart. And
yeah.
As much as I left for a few years, but I always ended up coming back. So
our area has an interesting way of drawing you back, right?
Yeah.
And so many people. I mean, so many people were smart enough to never leave, but there's a lot of us who did leave and just keep coming back, right? So that's awesome. So love that you're born and raised and sticking in the same community you were in. That's awesome. You're giving back. So guys, I hope this gave you some information on Djay's. Definitely got to get out and try some of his sauces. You can pick them up at the Nut Bar. You can pick them up at Dynamic Graphics, and again, you can order them online as well. Dennis, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Corey.
No, I really appreciate it. If you have any questions about real estate or just want to chat about the market, feel free to get in touch with us. It's at hometeamadvantage.ca, or you can call us at 519-331-5552. As of tomorrow, you can check out this interview, and you'll see it posted all over all the socials. So, again, thanks so much. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.